Mr. Gottheimer, the gentleman from New Jersey, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and thank you, Chairman Powell and Secretary Yellen, for being here today. Secretary Yellen, if I can start with you, the SALT deduction cap jammed through Congress in 2017 tax hike bill raised taxes for a majority of the families in my district. All four counties and the scores of middle-class families I represent had an average SALT claim above the $10,000 cap. For example, in Bergen County, the average taxpayer claimed $24,783 before the cap went into place, and the average property tax alone was $12,398 last year. These are my community's teachers and first responders and small business owners, young people trying to start a family. All groups were struggling, obviously, during the pandemic. It's high time we fought back against these moocher states that put this into place. My district has taken advantage of these by these folks enough. Our taxes need to be cut, not raised, as we recover from COVID-19, and removing the SALT cap has broad bipartisan support. Will the administration support eliminating the SALT cap and fully reinstating the deduction, ending this misguided policy of double taxation on my constituents?
Well, I do think that the SALT cap is a feature of TCJA that resulted in very disparate treatment. There are a lot of options that have been presented, and I would work with you to try to ensure that the inequities that this caused are remedied in a fair and responsible way. As you mentioned, there's a bipartisan proposal to repeal the cap. President Biden discussed a proposal that would cap itemized deductions at 28%. The caps could be increased. So I think we need to study just what impact it's had and look forward to working with you to find a fair way to address it.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, and I really look forward to working with you too on that. If I just one other item, given the number of rural locations throughout the country, including in my district, that still don't have true broadband connectivity, I believe the Treasury should make sure any American Rescue Plan Act broadband infrastructure dollars are targeted to truly underserved areas, right, to avoid overbuilding. For example, according to a recent survey by the census, only 69% of residents in White Township in my district had broadband connectivity. So even in northern New Jersey, there's lots of places that don't have connectivity or very limited connectivity. I was wondering, based on the legislation that was just signed into law, will you commit Treasury to using the authority Congress gave it to see that broadband funding is spent first and foremost on underserved areas and avoid overbuilding?
I'm not sure that we have the ability under the law to impose that kind of restriction, but I will look at it. And I'd also mention that the ARP contains a coronavirus capital projects fund. It's $10 billion that can also be used to fund broadband infrastructure. So there's quite a bit of money in the ARP for infrastructure, and I will look at what can be done.
I was thrilled about that. Obviously, something I fought hard for, the $10 billion fund for broadband. And I think the way it's written, the Treasury has latitude here, and I'd love to talk to you about that further to make sure that it goes to places that don't have broadband connectivity now, so we don't overbuild, which has been a mistake in the past, as you know, and try to avoid that. Last question in my minute left here, and it's okay with you, Madam Secretary. The New York Times this week published an article stating that more than $600 billion of income goes unreported yearly to the IRS. This gap in reporting will reduce federal revenue by $1.4 trillion over the next decade. It's a great opportunity to make sure we go after tax cheats or people who don't pay what they should, to avoid raising taxes otherwise. Are you prioritizing and are you looking into the revenue raisers that don't require tax rates to increase, such as increasing the audit capabilities of the IRS to help close the tax gap?
Absolutely. I think this is something that would be both fair and not involve any increase in tax rates or burdens. It would make sure that those who are supposed to pay do. It does require more resources for the IRS. I'd like to work with Congress to see if we can provide that funding, because I think this would be a very important initiative. I'm fully supportive of it.
Excellent. And I think we get a 5 or 6 to 1 return on that. So I think
Absolutely.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.